Villa to let near small Tuscan town. Suit couple, early 40s, with 3 children. Females preferred. Owner suggests preliminary viewing to avoid disappointment. Write S. Kettering. Mondano, you'll find 2 exits facing you as you enter the piazza. Take the left-hand road. La Felicità has a certain atmosphere and is used to special treatment, which we ask you to respect. We would also ask you to observe the tradition of dinner on the terrace taking place by candlelight. Those alarmed by insect life should consider holidaying in Skegness. We'll be at the house between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon of the 26th to get ready for the children's holidays. Looking forward to meeting you then. Signed, S. Kettering.
You've arrived.
Yes, I'm Molly Pargeter.
And you had no sort of difficulty finding us?
The directions were brilliant, actually.
Some people are still mystified by them. You can't imagine how thick some of our tenants are. Well, I suppose you'll want the conducted tour.
Yes.
Come through. The sitting room, converted from the cowsheds. Animals always lived on the ground floors of these old places.
It's enormous.
kitchen.
If a hairdryer is in use, it's wise to disconnect the refrigerator. Signed S. Kettering.
Pretty sound advice, I think you'll find.
Avoid flushing the lavatory outside the kitchen more than once in any given quarter of an hour, or serious results may follow. Signed S. Kettering.
Well, it's a house that can only be enjoyed by exercising a certain discipline.
Hello.
Plenty of hanging space there.
Yes. Sherlock Holmes.
You know the stories?
Oh, yes, since I was a child.
So, would this suit your own small family? How many young?
3, of course.
Why, of course.
What's in the advertisement? Suit couple, early 40s with 3 children, females preferred.
And you have females.
Why, yes, as it so happens.
What sort of ages?
Henrietta's 15, Samantha's 12. The baby, Jacqueline, well, just 4. And you have how many children?
Myself, absolutely none. Now, it's been the experience of my chums that children break up marriages. Yeah. Wife gets wrapped up in the kids, and the poor old husband gets left on his own here.
You said you'd be getting ready for the children's holidays.
You haven't taken me for Kettering.
What?
My dear lady, I'm not Kettering, or anywhere near it. Wish I were sometimes. Lucky fellow Kettering. He has his splendid house and his marriage. That's something I miss. And Mrs. K. She thinks the world of Kettering. Not to put too fine a point upon it, he's the apple of her eye.
So you are?
Fosdyke, William Fosdyke. I do things for chaps from the UK, keep an eye on their properties and the like. Signor Fix-It, the Brits call me. I rejoice in the title.
This could be Jackie's room.
Of course, I lost my wife many years ago now.
I'm sorry.
And I mean lost her. We went shopping in Brighton. I fixed a rendezvous at 12:30, under the clock. She never showed up. Gone missing. Believed to have scarpered with the manager of Boots. Women are curious creatures. Nothing personal, Mrs. Pargeter.
Nothing but art.
Kettering's great obsession, along with the house and Mrs. K.
Piero della Francesca.
He says we're perfectly placed to study Piero's stuff. Handy for the pregnant Madonna and the frescoes at Arezzo. If you want a real adventure, you can visit the flagellation in the palace in Urbino. Kettering says it's probably the greatest small painting in the world.
That's at Urbino?
Yes. It's a bit of a drive across the mountains of the moon. Oh, Mrs. Pargeter, if you decide to take the house, I can put you in touch with a source of Oxford marmalade. Oh, grade tea's no problem, or the Daily Telegraph. I'm Signor Fix-It, remember?
Please, don't worry.
I can even manage potted shrimps. when the wind's in the right direction.
Extraordinary house.
You mean uncomfortable?
No. Quite beautiful.
I don't see how we're going to afford it.
I'm going to afford it. Aunt Tattie's money.
Samantha, darling. Oh, you're so cute. How was dancing?
Boring. We all had to be trees.
Yeah. Brought these back for you. Chockies.
Thanks.
Aren't there better things to spend Aunt Tattie's money on?
What's better than a proper holiday in Italy?
The roof needs doing.
Roof can wait. We need it. We need some sort of change.
Well, you may need a change. I'm not sure I need a change. I've a pile of work at the office.
Do shut up, you two. A person can't concentrate.
Why don't you go to your room, Henrietta?
Because it's lonely in my room.
We've got court sitting now right through August. Why are you so set on this place?
Because I've seen it. You didn't have time to see it.
Yes, well, some of us have to work. Anyway, our landlord sounds rather peculiar, don't you think?
Why peculiar?
Suit couple, early 40s, 3 children, females preferred. Why females preferred? Sounds fishy to me.
Perhaps he thinks girls do less damage to the furniture. Please don't look for reasons against it. Don't always look for reasons.
Well, I suppose you've made up your mind. You're always making up your mind.
Not always. Only about this.
Mummy, that's my tea.
So, what's wrong with this paradise you've discovered? No drawbacks?
Absolutely no drawbacks. Of course, we'll have to see that the children wear shoes.
Shoes? Why shoes?
Prickles in the grass. Sort of thing. It's really very wild. Beautiful. Whoever's that?
It's Gams.
So, Jack the lad.
How are you, Gams?
How am I? I would say, my dear old thing, bloody glad to be still alive. Where's your mother? Don't you pull too fast either. I'm an old gentleman, you forget that.
Sorry.
Molly Coddle, thought I'd just look in on you all. Anything open in the fridge, is there? I'll get it for myself if you're busy.
I am rather.
I've been boning up on my Italian. With the aid of an extremely sexy-sounding signorina I got on tape from the Fulham Public Library.
Well, if you've got a particular reason for having Italian lessons.
Oh, no, good heavens, no. I mean, my dear old thing, I never said a single word about joining you all on holiday. I'd quite taken it for granted you wouldn't want your boring old fart of a father trailing round Tuscany with you.
I never said that.
Of course not, but it was understood, quite understood. I simply called in to wish you all arrivederci.
We're not going till August.
Of course, if I did come along, I could introduce you to old Nancy Ledbetter. She lives just a spit of an olive stone from Mondano in Chianti. Ah, Nancy was so beautiful when she was a young girl. It seems only yesterday we slid between the sheets together.
Please.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Your generation shocks so easily. You make me feel more and more like some splendid old Regency rake who's lived on into the boring reign of Prince Albert the Good. I'm sure dear old Nancy would invite us all to her parties.
Hugh's been working so hard, I don't know if he'll want a lot of parties.
All work and no play makes Hugh a dull boy. And in poor old Hughie's case, dullness does come easily.
We're trying Italy this year. I managed to find a villa for the children's holidays.
Oh, I know about them. School holidays are when all the men suddenly disappear. A girl can get terribly hungry in August. Do you honestly have to go, Hughie?
Oh, yes, I'm afraid so. Well, I can't disappoint the children. Anyway, I've organized it all now.
Clever old you. Is it a nice house?
Yes, I think so. Actually, I sent my wife to take a look. Can't be too careful.
You didn't take a look.
Well, I've been rather too busy here. Which reminds me, your husband's behind with the alimony again. Do you want me to sue him?
He wants to keep all his money to himself. So selfish. Well, yes, sue if you have to. Can't you tell your wife you're too busy to take a holiday?
I really am sorry.
Not your fault. At least I can indulge myself while you're away.
Actually, I hope you don't.
Just a few of those gorgeous profiteroles, please.
Oh, pudding. I shan't worry about pudding.
Just a tiny drop of cream. Anyway, when you're in Italy, send me lots of postcards. Thank you.
I'll try. It might be a bit difficult.
I know. Holidays are tough times for husbands.
Is the editor in?
Name, please.
You must be new here. Haverford Downs. No doubt you've read Jottings by Haverford Downs. Brilliantly witty column at the end of each issue.
I'm afraid the editor just slipped out, Mr. Haverford.
Haverford Downs, my dear. I may have become an aged streetwalker in the boulevard of shame, but my prose still exercises its old allure. Oh, there you are, Stuart. Jottings, my dear old thing. I've got a brilliant idea for my column.
We'll have to give the future of your column some thought. Pressure of space these days is quite appalling. Look, not now though, I've got a meeting at the House of Commons. Fix up a time with Tina, okay?
How would you feel about Jottings from Italy this summer?
Well, random thoughts on Botticelli? Nah, not for us, I'm afraid.
No, I'm thinking more on the lines of whether Euro-communism or the scandal of the Vatican Bank.
Taxi!
Child prostitution on the Autostrada del Sole.
We can't pay your fare. House of Commons, please.
Have no fear. I'll make my own arrangements. Prophetic soul, my son-in-law. My dear old thing. Just the very person I was looking for.
Haverford!
Are you well, Hughie? You should be well. Particularly fragrant bit of crackling you had in your arms a few moments ago. I couldn't help noticing.
That happened to be a client.
Yes, of course. And if you think I'd breathe a word to mollycoddle, you're doing me a serious injustice. Mum's the word, my dear old thing.
Haverford.
I don't want to cause any trouble between husband and wife. Now, about our trip to Italy.
August is when both parties are. And the ball at Hurlingham. And when we're all going to the Muckrakers Club for a really good evening. And then we're going shopping in Ken High Street. I'm staying at Rachel Coo's flat and Mrs. Coo knows and everything.
Sorry, we'll be in Italy.
You revel in it, don't you? You really enjoy disappointing somebody.
You're not staying here without us.
Why not?
You know perfectly well why not.
Because I chew up drugs and have wild parties and get drunk and sleep with boys. Thank you very much. It's extremely nice for me to know that you think your daughter's a raving drug addict and a tart. Really cheers me up.
Of course I don't think that. Hello, darling. Good day.
Terrible. Worked off my feet.
I think I'm somebody who just can't be left in the house alone. Tell her, Dad.
Tell her what, darling?
Tell her it's about time she started trusting her own daughter.
What's the matter with her?
She just doesn't want to come to Italy.
Yes, well, I wish somebody else didn't want to go.
Who?
Your father?
You didn't say he could.
Well, I just happened to bump into him in the street. It seems the informer wants him to write about Italy.
I've made up my mind. He's not coming with us.
Why can't you sit up and look about you?
Because we're feeling sick.
Besides which, there's nothing much to see, except the motorway and a lot of Kraut industrialists with their Mercedes motor cars hurrying towards the bum boys of Naples.
What's a bum boy gang?
Kind of male tart.
Look about you anyway. It's Italy. It's what we've paid to see. All right, now let's see how fast we can get this lot in now. All right, let's see how quickly we can get all this done. Henry, that's for you. And this one.
I can't take it.
Yes, you can. Jackie, yeah. Okay. I'll put one good one. Henry, that's for you.
Giovanna?
As well.
I think she's here.
Who's here?
Giovanna, with the keys. Giovanna?
You can get one of the big ones out. This way. How have we got his? Henry, this for you. As well. One more.
Aren't we ever going to swim?
When you bring your things in.
Oh, that's all. Let's go.
Why can't Mum come and help?
What? Well, she's just opening up the house, that's why.
qui in cucina. Ecco qui.
Avreste dovuto aspettarmi. Io avrei dovuto aprire la casa. Queste chiavi non avrebbero dovuto essere lasciate fuori. Che cosa direbbe il signor Catering? Il padrone non sarebbe contento. La famiglia inglese avrebbe dovuto aspettare.
Scusi, Giovanna. Oh, well, anyway, I paid half the rent. We're quite entitled to come in. Anyway, the key was in the front door and I...
Signora Giovanna, benvenuto. Che bella figura.
Signore.
In what previous existence, when you were a young girl in the Cinquecento, might you have sat to the great Piero della Francesca and become the model for his pregnant Madonna? E un volto che diventa soltanto più bel col tempo.
Grazie, signore, molto gentile.
There you are, Molly Coddle. You're going to find it jolly useful to have an old fart around who understands women. When I was staying in Siena with your sainted mother, Molly Coddle, I remember giving the hall porter a postcard for England. Well, your mother came rushing downstairs with a rare display of energy and seized the card from the fellow's hand. Naturally, it was written to some young lady, telling her how much I missed her, time dawdling on leaden feet until we could slide in between the sheets together, a picture on the front of a Piero angel, undoubtedly her face. Hughie will know the sort of thing.
Oh, I don't know why I should say that.
Why are we having supper out here, Mum?
It's not supper, it's dinner, and this is where people usually have it at La Felicita.
Sounds as if you'd lived here for years.
I feel like that. Isn't it odd?
Well, anyway, about the Queen of the Night. Always called your mother that because of her amazing devotion to sleep, which she seemed to prefer to any other activity, particularly what I believe today's lovers refer to so elegantly as boffing or shafting. Do you shaft nowadays, Hughie?
Would you like some bread?
You mean not before les jeunes filles?
Now, you must all remember to wear your shoes when you go out.
Why, are there snakes?
Snakes? No, not snakes in particular. They're just, well, quite a lot of prickles.
What do you mean, not snakes in particular?
Look!
Where was that?
Who knows? Somebody lost, I suppose. Must be quite easy to mix up all these tracks.
How did they know?
How did they know what?
How did they know they were lost? Didn't even stop to ask.
Your father. He's at his worst.
He always is.
All that talk of bum boys and shafting in front of the girls.
They are extremely knowledgeable.
Can't he grow old with dignity?
Apparently not.
I'm worn out. I think I'll go to sleep. You worn out too?
Not especially. I'll read a little.
Don't put your mug there, it'll leave a ring.
Life is for living. And for God's sake, tables are made to put mugs down on. When do you propose to begin life, Mollycoddle?
Don't know what you mean.
A husband, 3 jolly girls, and a holiday in Italy. Is that really enough to satisfy your taste for living? At least there used to be a bit of drama in your mother's life. She used to crash cars.
Only because of the way you behaved.
Well, the way I behaved certainly gave rise to a bit of drama. Don't you long for it? You must do. As your father's daughter. We should try to get on a little better, Mollycoddle. You've never understood me.
Perhaps I've understood you too well.
I was in my 50s when I used to meet all those wonderful girls striding down the King's Road, blonde hair flying, boots like little musketeers. I could feel quite young then. Now, 20-odd years later, I don't feel a day older.
Perhaps that's the problem.
Let's all go into Mondano in search of adventure. I want to root out the priest, chase up a few stories. You'll have shopping to do.
Yes, I've got shopping.
That your list?
No.
Assets, la felicità, being together, the children. Liability, the existence of B. Objective, be lost and gone forever. Means, lawyers. Useless. Other means to be considered.
It's in the book.
It's a mystery, Mollycoddle. You love mysteries, don't you?
I don't suppose it's any of our business.
Doesn't that make it far more interesting?
Hey, what are you doing running into the street like this, eh? Oh, hello, Mrs. Pargeter. Your nipper was setting up for Siena. You want to watch out for the lorries down this road. Accidents have been known to happen.
See, darling, I told you not to wander off.
They will, won't they? You can't stop them. Anyway, you're at the wrong establishment, dear lady. I'll take you across to Luca's. He's an old scoundrel, but he's got most of what you'll want. Aye. Eggs, bacon, Oxford marmalade, Twining's English breakfast tea, Marmite, fish fingers, baked beans, and Ribena.
Don't suppose you'd have any shredded wheat.
Oh, Signor Fix-It will arrange it for you. Luca, c'è shredded wheat.
Sì, signore, certamente.
Thank you. And thank you for all the things we found waiting for us in the kitchen yesterday.
That was nothing to do with me.
It wasn't.
I can't take the credit. And I had to pop down to Rome on a spot of business. Didn't get back till late last night.
And who do you think?
God knows, Mrs. Pargeter. And he's probably not telling. By the way, you might as well get it over.
Get what over?
The rent. Kettering empowered me to collect it.
Well, yes, of course.
The bank's open now. If you'd like me to take you.
I paid half into his account in the Casa di Risparmio. That's what Mr. Kettering said in one of his letters.
And the second half payable in lire, to be collected by William Fosdyke, Esquire. I'm sure you remember. Right, there we are. Mind that step. Come on, girl. Right, we'll go in that one. They know me there.
Fosdyke! You're looking after the Harrisons' place while we're away.
That's right, old man.
I've just taken delivery of their brand new Sweep Shore pool scourer. I'll get it up to you sometime soon.
Ken, I don't think you've met Mrs. Pargeter. She's taken La Felicità. This is Ken Corduroy.
How do you do?
Pleased to meet you, Mrs. Pargeter. Let me know if you have any problems with the Kettering's pool.
Why, should I expect problems?
Oh, with swimming pools, Mrs. Pargeter, who knows what to expect?
Yeah, see you later, Ken. We've done our business. Now, I'll buy you a drink. Hmm? Thank you, Mrs. Pargeter. Jolly much.
I'm sorry not to meet Mr. Kettering.
Well, he's travelling.
And is Mrs. Kettering travelling with him?
Travelling, but not necessarily with him.
You said he was the apple of her eye.
Well, yes. But you can't always travel with the apple of your eye. What is this, Mrs. Pargeter? Some sort of interrogation?
Well, do they have somewhere in England?
Oh, nowhere in the UK. Now, people like me and the Ketterings have severed all connections with the old country. With the expats.
The Kettering children?
What about them?
How many?
3, at the last count.
Girls? Same age as ours?
Yes, now that you've come to mention it. Now, look, Mrs. Pargeter, as I told you, I can get all the English papers. No need for you to feel out of touch. And the dear old informer keeps us all sane.
Not me.
Oh.
Never read it. My father writes for it, Haverford Downs.
Haverford Downs? Your father? Oh, congratulations. What wisdom, what wit, and what true knowledge of life. And from the little things he slips in about the ladies, would I be right in thinking he's had a fair amount of experience with the opposite sex?
Oh, I don't think you should believe all you read in the papers.
Jottings from Tuscany by Haverford Downs. I must tell my faithful readers that this particular old gent was transported by an extremely uncomfortable magic carpet to Chiantisha, that old established suburb of Wimbledon, which can't have changed much since Britannia ruled the waves and Woggs stopped at Calais. It's true there are a few natives here, known as Itais to the British colonials, who are useful to serve as waiters, gardeners, or maids. The statuesquely beautiful and highly intelligent woman who is called Maid in our villa suffered the horror of seeing both her parents shot by the Germans. While the aristocrats from the local castle entertained the SS officers to black market dinners of wild boar and chocolate sauce. Up the road from the villa, now inhabited by your man in Chiantisha, is the Castello Crocetto, home of the Baronessa Dulcibeni and some of the world's best Chianti Classico. The wartime resistance movement is run by the communists. Now, your average Euro communist is about as far to the left as an English liberal. But among these dry Tuscan hills, they have a tougher breed. Typical of them is our local priest. Dear old Don Marco's politics are as red as a baboon's bottom. In many ways, he's nostalgic for the days of Stalin, and he regards glasnost rather as he would the Vatican Bank dealing heavily in condoms. We have dealt with one occupying army, he told me, over a glass of grappa and with a particularly charming smile. And if you English tourists get too powerful round here, I think I can remember where the old machine guns are buried. Footnote. I happened to meet a former girlfriend among these perfumed hills. Soft you now! The fair Nancy Ledbetter, nymph in thy orisons, we all my sins remember.
Do I know you?
Haverford Downs, Nancy. And of course you know me, in every sense, including the biblical.
But don't ask me to remember things. I'm far too old.
And being old, what have we but our memories together?
What did you say your name was?
Haverford, my dear old thing. We used to Roger all over Europe. Don't say the name means nothing.
Well, not very much, I'm afraid. What are you doing here?
Special correspondent to the Informer magazine, staying at La Felicita with my daughter and her husband, a fellow who bores for England.
Well, I'm giving a party for all the English around here, Monday evening at the Villa Ballerini. There'll be lots of young people, friends of my grandchildren.
Villa Ballerini, still the white rug, is there, in front of the big log fire?
Well, come if you like and bring your family. I'll do my best to remember who you are. Can't at present.
Blow me if, much to her chagrin, I couldn't remember ever having slid between the sheets with her. A bottle of Chianti Classico for the reader who suggests the most tactful way out of this conversational senso unico before next Saturday. What are you reading, Molly Coddle?
Copper Beeches. It's in our bedroom.
Sherlock Holmes.
Story of a governess in a strange house. She's asked to cut her hair and wear a particular coloured dress and sit by a window on a special chair. The point of the story is that the owners of the house wanted to be mistaken for somebody else.
Who by?
By whoever's keeping watch on the house. Ketterings wanted a couple in their early 40s with 3 girls. Well, the Ketterings seem to have 3 girls of their own. Same ages as our lot.
And?
They wanted us to eat dinner on the terrace by candlelight and to play special music.
You're enjoying this, aren't you?
Just suppose they wanted someone, it had to be someone who hadn't met them, to think that they were still here. I mean, that we are them.
But what about B? Objective B, lost and gone forever?
Oh, I don't know enough to have any ideas about that. What do you think?
I think I'm going to present you with a great big curly pipe and a deerstalker hat.
Oh, I must go and do some washing.
Doesn't Giovanna do that?
Apparently not.
You heard my old friend Don Marco told me.
What?
Her parents weren't shot by the Germans. They were collaborators, executed by the resistance. I'll have a word with her about the washing.
Please don't.
Buongiorno, Giovanna.
Oh!
Ta-ra-ra-boom-de, I washed my socks today. Ta-da-da-dee-da-da. Come in. Ah, grazie, bellissima. Grazie mille.
Apple crumble, Stilton, and port. After the steak and kidney, topped up with the Harrison's malt whiskey.
Delicious.
I thought it right to feed you, sir, in the style of an honoured writer, an English gentleman.
Oh, am I a gentleman? I suppose I have some of the characteristics. I'm always in debt. I always stand up when a lady enters the room, greatly to the irritation of the feminist staff of the Informer. My talents are at the service of the radical left. My grievance against our prison masters is, quite frankly, I find most of them rather common. I dress untidily. My family despairs of me. And I have absolutely no sympathy with any technological advance since the invention of the shoehorn. Yes, I suppose you might call me a gent.
Or a genius. I'm no judge of these things, but what you write always seems pretty wise to me. You know a thing or two.
No one has lived a certain amount of life.
I've always thought, if I were in a hole, you'd be the sort of chap I'd turn to for advice.
Are you? In a hole, I mean.
Not so much a hole, let's say more of a crossroads. I would say you had a certain amount of experience with women.
Write me down as one who has loved, not wisely, but too well.
Love? Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. I don't just mean the other stuff.
What other stuff?
Well, you know, below the belt.
My dear Fosdyke, you can't live by the Queensberry rules. Most of what's interesting in life goes on below the belt.
Well, I don't mean what you can get for 50,000 lire in the back streets of Siena.
Can you really? What streets are those exactly?
Well, this is a country where you can get most things, if you're prepared to pay.
How much?
Not that anyone should avail themselves of it.
Oh, I don't know, provided you take reasonable precautions.
But if you have a quarrel with anybody, I mean, if there's anyone standing in your way...
A quarrel?
Yes. They usually do it, you know, with lorries.
Lorries? Do you do it in the cabin, or is there a bed made up in the back?
I've heard about a fellow who's in close touch with a chap who can always manage it. It could happen crossing the street in Mondano. You know what a menace those lorries can be. It might be a big one with a misleading number plate that gets your mortal enemy. It never bothers to stop. Pure accident. That's the name of the game.
I thought we were talking about love.
Love? You know so much about it, sir.
Oh, well, for me, it's always been the same person. Different names, of course, different coloured hair. Might I have some cream, please?
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much. She's the obsession that never dies. Some of them, of course, like poor old Nancy Ledbetter, have put on a bit of weight over the years.
This time, with me, it's the real thing. Quite honestly, love has rather thrown me.
Well, is it the unrequited sort? I mean, does the person concerned...
Whom I will not name, if it's all the same to you, Mr. Downs. Yes, fully reciprocated, mutual, in every way.
Well, what then, dare one ask, is the problem?
I'm worried about the responsibility.
Because you and Miss Nameless fancy each other?
Mrs. Nameless, actually. A married lady. Coming into someone else's life is rather like taking over their house. It may land you in complications you didn't bargain for.
Here again.
Who's here?
That car.
Probably they're lost.
Whoever can it be?
Don't worry, I'll go see.
La signora Kettering?
Sì, sono signora Catherine.
Buonasera, signora Kettering.
Buonasera.
Da Claudio.
Grazie.
Well, who was it?
Oh, nothing, just something for the Catterings. Now, anyone for seconds?
Osnike.